What's up, you guys? Sean Ross Sapp, Fightful.com, here with a name you know. You're going to see him this Sunday, WWE TLC facing Roman Reigns. You're going to see him on Chronicle Saturday morning. We got Kevin Owens. Kevin, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you, man?
I'm doing awesome. I mean, I've been after this interview for a long time, but I feel like I almost need a gimmick change because from what I understand, the new Mountie always gets his man.
Yeah, that's the rumor I've heard. Apparently, allegedly, it almost happened, which is not the case. But yeah, we've heard about that this week. Huh?
Yeah, like that. There was something that a lot of people were talking about. And when I went back and watched the interview it was Nick Dinsmore and Chris Van Vliet. Nick Dinsmore, very respected trainer and performer. I couldn't tell what part he was joking about. Like, I knew that some part of it was a joke. Either the idea was a joke, him telling you was a joke, or your reaction was a joke, but I wasn't sure which one.
Yeah. So it's funny because I talked to him about it after. Because at first, when it was reported, I was like, "What?" I was like, "This never happened." You know what I mean? I was like, "What is he saying?" So he and I talked, and he was saying he did. So I don't remember this. But he claims he ribbed me because after he talked to me about who trained me, which turned out to be the Mountie, and it was clear from what I was telling him that the Mountie and I were not on good terms.
Yeah.
He thought it'd be funny to make me think that WWE Creative wanted me to be the new Mountie, and I guess he yanked my chain and told me that was the plan, and I have no trouble believing that if I did buy what he was saying, I probably did. I definitely didn't cry because I'm a grown man, but I definitely did not like it. There's no doubt about that part. But I don't remember any of it. So, but then, the way it was reported or whatever, it seemed like he was saying that it was an actual plan by creative, which I was like, that's not true. So then after he explained to me, like, no, remember I joked with you. And I'm like, oh, I don't remember that.
Oh.
But yeah, it's certainly a lot of people were either glad it didn't happen or really upset it didn't happen. It was,
I'm
it was
just
a real
saying.
polarizing issue after people were talking about it.
I have PCO scheduled for later today. That would have been kind of poetic.
Oh, yeah.
That would have been very poetic. And he's still going.
Yeah.
You never know what they could have done with that.
Yeah, he's something else, man. Tell him I say hi. I haven't talked to him in a little while, but he's doing pretty great for himself.
The guy you have been talking to, Roman Reigns, I mean, this storyline has just, my God, it's exploded. And I mean, the promo work that we have seen between you guys, when I talk to people, they'll tell me Roman's going to want to one up that. Kevin's going to want to one up that. Like, and does that push you from a performer aspect when you see somebody out there killing it and you got to at least do as good as them, if not better?
Yeah, well, so Roman's never been better, right? Everybody, I'm pretty sure, can agree on that. And he's showing a side that a lot of people, ironically, have been waiting for him to show for a long time because, the crowd reactions he used to get and whatnot. Everybody would wonder, why don't they just embrace that? And now he's embracing it at a time where crowds can't react to him, which is ironic as well. But he's really doing really well in that new attitude and that new way of carrying himself. And it's pretty awesome to see. And of course, it makes me want to match it, like you said. But that's really true of any time I've worked with Roman, even when the roles were reversed. Because he's very passionate about what we do. So am I. And, there's different levels of passion in different people. But when you work with somebody who's as passionate as you are to create good moments and memorable moments and good stories and all that stuff, it, naturally brings your level up as well. So it's been really enjoyable. And it's not just him. Heyman and Jey Uso have been so great in their roles as well. It's just really cool to do something. It's fresh. It feels it's very refreshing for me to be involved with all those guys and the way we're doing it now. And I hope it continues for sure.
So you're in a TLC match this weekend. You have been in a ladder match now every year in WWE since 2015, as I went back and looked. It is an innovative match type. You're an innovative guy. When you do that, are you already thinking, like, what can I do in this match that I haven't done before? Or does the situation predicate the offense?
Yeah, I think I just I just kind of like to adapt the match to the situation and the story we're having. I don't really think of things to do beforehand. It kind of comes to me as we go, as the match gets closer. I never set out because you can get ideas for stuff you'd like to do, but if it doesn't fit within the framework of the match you're trying to have, sometimes forcing it just doesn't help, so it actually makes things worse. So I try to go into every match with a open slate, a clean slate, open mind, and just kind of take it from there. But there's never been a ladder match or a tables match or any kind of match with a stipulation that I haven't pulled out something kind of nuts. So I really wouldn't expect Sunday to be any different.
Well, on Saturday before all this, your Chronicle airs. How much are cameras like kind of following you and in your face with that type of thing? And how used to it are you? Because I know that even before WWE, you were doing like talk shows and stuff on like separately from that. So I mean, it's not like you would immediately like get off camera after your matches or anything. You were sitting down for an hour at a time with wrestlers and talking to them. So now you got cameras following you. Is it that much different for you?
Yeah, the Chronicle. So usually when they work on something like that for the network, you're followed for months, right? And then they condense it into an hour, 40 minutes, whatever it is. But this time they actually were only filming with me for two SmackDowns, and then they came to my house for a day.
Wow.
So they really weren't filming with me very much. They didn't have time because they decided they wanted to put this Chronicle out before TLC. So we did what we could, but basically the whole crew that works on this stuff, the network documentaries, the stuff you see on YouTube, like all this kind of behind the scenes footage you see, all those documentaries, the crew is so incredible that even when they're filming me or following me around, or even in this case when they're at my house, unless I'm sitting down with them to do an actual interview, I almost don't know they're there.
Yeah.
And in this case, Joey, the guy who filmed it all and is putting it all together, he's like I said, he's really good at just being almost like a ghost in the background. So there's a time, no joke, when he was in my house, I was getting my daughter ready for school in the morning. I forgot he was there, and then she started talking to him, and I turned around and I said, oh, she's talking to Joey. And that, because he was just kind of off on the side, kind of shooting us do our stuff, and I was just doing what I do every morning with her. So it's cool that they definitely get like a glimpse of what we are before we go to work, and how, in a way, for me, a big part of my story has been how work has always influenced my life outside of the ring, because I'm pretty consumed by work at all times. So that's a big part of this Chronicle, actually, is trying not to let this story with Roman and this TLC match bleed too much into my just everyday life, because it's obviously a very big opportunity. But anytime you get to be a part of that stuff, the Chronicles or 24s, whatever you want to call them, it's pretty neat because it gives people something to be excited about, and it gives people a reason to just care about the match they're going to see. In this case, it's airing the day before the big match, so it's cool timing. It's interesting that they put it there, and people are going to get to watch what it's like to kind of prepare for a match like that.
And WWE is so good at putting those together. Dare I say that
Yeah.
WWE doing so many documentaries encouraged a lot of other sports and entertainment to do it. I know NFL Films had a lot of influence too, but WWE from like the early
Well,
part.
funny enough, so Joey, the guy who's doing it, Joey used to work for the NFL and do that kind of stuff
Not
for them.
surprised.
So, yeah,
Not
yeah.
surprised at all. They're always so good. I mean, it's top notch stuff. We talked about some of the offense you use. You've been using the stunner for the last bit.
Yeah.
How did that come about? I mean, I get the feeling that's probably the kind of thing you got to go to somebody and be like, hey, really iconic move. Am I able to do this?
Yeah, so I've talked about this before, right? So this might not be new information to everyone, but I asked Austin if I could do it first and foremost. I had been thinking about it for a while because, this was back in 2016, 2017, I think. I felt like everybody was doing a power bomb of some sort, short of just doing pop-up power bombs pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm pretty sure I saw some guys do it too. And, that's a whole other thing about how people take from other people. And, when we're all on the same show, all on the same team, but that's a whole other issue. So I was seeing all these people do power bombs, and I just I think I want to stand out with something different. But at the same time, I want it to be something that people can get excited about. And then I don't know why. I just got this feeling like maybe I could just use the stunner, because the stunner has been used throughout the years, by a lot of people, but it was never a finishing move anymore.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, maybe if I get advice from Stone Cold himself, I can figure out how to make it a finishing move again. And then, so I went to him. I asked him if he was okay with me using it. He was very happy to say yes. He was like, I was wondering when somebody would come ask me. So he said, he gave me the green light, and then I took it through the proper channels, and it was deemed that it wasn't the right time for it, but eventually it became the right time. And, here we are now. And I'm doing my best to keep it, I call it the stunner because I'm never going to try to change its name. It just wouldn't feel right. I'm doing my best to do right by it. And I know it's kind of that is also a polarizing issue. Some people love it. Some people really don't like that I do it, but those people can, take their opinions elsewhere is how I'm going to put it. Because Steve Austin said I could do it, and I'm not going to stop anytime soon. So.
It seems like one of those things. I could see why a lot of people would be like almost intimidated to say, hey, greatest draw in the history of wrestling, can I use your move even though you haven't wrestled in 15, 16 years at that point? But you've got very versatile offense. Like before WWE, there was the stuff like the package pile driver. But I mean, I'm sure that you probably knew going in, like, yeah, they're probably not going to let me do the Steenalizer or something. They did put it in a video game, though.
I retired that one myself, actually. I would never. I had a couple close calls where everybody that I gave it to was fine, but I felt like it was too close that maybe it wouldn't have been fine. And I would be very upfront with everybody I was going to give that move to, that hey, it's kind of crazy. I wouldn't take it.
Yeah.
So if you don't want to take it, tell me. And I never had anybody say no. And most times it was fine. And I mean, it was literally fine every time. But I felt like a couple times it was a close call, and it's just not worth it in the end. So I retired that one myself. But yeah, it obviously wouldn't be something I would do in WWE because, we do this, or at least we used to do this 4 or 5 times a week, every week. And it's not a move you want to give people that work that hard and put their bodies through that much punishment on a daily basis,
So I've been on a mission lately to get some more positive wrestling news out there. So I've been doing the opposite of shooting hard. Instead, we shoot softly, and I ask you to say nice things about some of your contemporaries. And we'll start with the guy you're facing on Sunday. How about Roman Reigns?
Yeah. So look, I've always admired Roman a lot for a lot of reasons. To me, no matter the amount of success he achieved and how he clearly was the face of this company, he was always just one of the boys. He never had his own locker room like other people would. And I'm talking like, you can pretty much peg who has their own locker room when they come around. And those are the guys that come once in a blue moon. But there were guys on our roster that are there every day that had their own locker room, and it just blew my mind, But Roman was never one of those guys. So now the situation's different, obviously, because of the entire process and whatnot. I'm not sure if he'd still have his own locker room at this, or he'd still be in our locker room at this point. But that's something I always admired about him, is he stayed down to earth, even though some other people might not have been as down to earth as he was in his position. And whether people like to admit it or not, and I know for a long time, people are coming around to it finally, but for a long time, people would just refuse to accept that he's a pretty talented professional wrestler. So that's nice.
Yeah,
but,
it's very nice.
He'll
Uh,
hurt me and I'll hurt him on Sunday. So we'll see if we did this interview on Monday, the answers might be different. Who knows?
a guy that you did hurt and vice versa throughout the fall. Alistair Black, we haven't seen him lately, but I mean, you guys had some wars.
Yeah, he's a very creative guy, really imaginative and very passionate as well about his own personality and his own image, his own character, whatever you want to call it, and the way he's portrayed. Um, and that's something you got to do, and you got to be accountable for yourself sometimes, because it's easy to get kind of lost in the shuffle. And that might have happened to him over the last year, but I'm sure he'll bounce back, because he's, like I said, he's too to me anyway, from the little I've interacted with him, he seems too passionate to just kind of fall by the wayside here.
A guy that we saw you on Ride Along with, Apollo Crews, he had quite the year.
Yeah, I love Apollo, man. He's a great guy. He's got his family that he loves. Outside of the ring, he's all about his family. I'm a lot like that. So's Ali, which is why I actually asked, when they asked me to do Ride Along, they wanted me to do it with Sammy, and I'm like, we've already done one, me and Sammy, and like, it's not, people like won't be entertained by me and Sammy the way you think they will be, because we've known each other too long. It's not the same. So I asked for Ali and Cruz to be in it, and they're like, yeah, sure. And it was just a bunch of wrestling dads driving around in LA, and that was really enjoyable. But yeah, I love Apollo, another extremely talented guy. And I had a little short stint as his partner slash on-screen buddy, but it was just kind of reflecting of our relationship behind the scenes. He's a great guy, and I'd love to see him get to do more. He was U.S. champion for a little bit. That was cool, but God, that's just one of the many things he could accomplish and do very well. Do very well with.
As we start to wrap up, obviously TLC this Sunday, but it's wild to think after this long year, Royal Rumble's next month. Like, it's almost mind-boggling to even think that. When you were growing up, were you a big Royal Rumble fan? I know that you were in 2016, you were in this year's, and the Greatest Royal Rumble. But in between, you had other stuff going on at that show. Were you a big Royal Rumble fan?
Yeah, of course. It's one of the most exciting pay-per-views for everyone. I think everybody would agree. There's something about a 10 count and then something happening that's just, whatever it's in whatever setting it is, people always love that. So that I was no different with the Royal Rumble. And yeah, I love being in those matches. And like you said, I've only gotten to do it a few times because, in other shows, either I was having a singles match, or one of them I was actually out for. I was injured at the time. But yeah, I really love the Royal Rumble, and it's always an exciting time, because when it comes around too, WrestleMania is around the corner as well. So it's kind of like the first step to our big season, if you want to call it that, even though we don't have an off season. So it's really a big season all year round.
There's an overwhelming sense of optimism around that event. Like, everybody's like, anything can happen. You never know what might change. What did you see change from the first one you were in like 2016 to like the most recent one? Because I mean, you went from arena to stadium, but how have things changed in how they were like made or produced?
I don't think so, honestly. It's just it's so many people to contend with and so many stories to tell at one time. So there's no way it won't be chaotic.
Yeah.
It always is chaotic, but it always turns out to be pretty exciting and pretty memorable. And to me, I think that's always how it's going to be, the process, because you got 30 guys in one match and you have so many things to accomplish. I kind of wish they had done the 40-man Royal Rumble one year, which I really liked. I kind of wish we'd go back to that. I think the more people involved, the better. And the longer that match is, the more fun it is to me. So if I were to pick any changes to make, I would just add more people. But yeah, it's really cool. And hopefully I'm not in it this year because I'm the champion.
Yes.
But we'll see. Hopefully I have many more Royal Rumbles coming my way in future years here.
Last question. I'm a hard-hitting journalist after the important stuff, but you gave the juiciest story of the year to AJ Awesome, the pie story.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to have some words with that kid. Man, I actually see him at media events all the time. Like he's a great kid. But
he's a good kid, and I figured if I was gonna give that answer to anybody, he was very deserving of it.
He's a good kid. He's a good kid. I encourage people to check out that interview as well. Kevin Owens, WWE TLC this Sunday against Roman Reigns. Chronicle this Saturday. I want to thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man.
Until next time, guys, we're out.